Okay. So like I said, I know a few folks have uploaded to Illumira before, and some have, and that's perfectly fine. So what we're going to be doing is a high-level overview from the ground up and what Illumira is. Don't worry, there's no death by PowerPoint today. It's going to be strictly sticking to demos. This will be one of the more lighter sessions, so please feel free to ask questions as we're going along. We will allow for some Q&A time at the end as well as always. So with that, let's go ahead and dive on right in to Canvas. Is everyone seeing Canvas okay? Perfect. So I'm going to be using a dummy Canvas course today, the one that we just use for testing purposes, but you'll still be able to get the same idea. All the functionality is going to be the same. So to start off, what we're going to do, instead of uploading, anytime we have a lot of videos, obviously, as you know, the Canvas storage is limited. However, and with videos, that's going to be tough, right? Because videos tend to be larger files. But what we do instead is we want to upload all of those videos, say all of your lecture material, into Rodder's video repository system known as Illumira. Previously, it used to go by the name of NJVid. Some of you might have heard that before or seen that. And every once in a while, you'll actually see a reference to that title as well. There's no difference in functionality between NJVid and Illumira. It was strictly just a rebranding by the vendor. Almost everything you need to be able to do in Illumira, you can do right within the Canvas LTI integration, which makes things super simple for you. But what we'll want to do first, if we look on this left-hand side navigation pane, we actually don't see any links for Illumira yet. So we have to first enable it into our course. So let's go ahead and click on the settings in the bottom of our course. And this is a feature that you need to enable on a course-by-course basis within Canvas. And by default, we'll end up at the Course Details tab. So let's go ahead and click on the Navigation tab at the top of the ribbon. And at the top, as always, we see the currently enabled links for our course. And if I scroll down a bit, I can see what is not enabled for this course. Sorry, Corelli, were you saying something? Oh, sorry, I got weird feedback. And right here at the top, we have a link that says Illumira video browser that's currently disabled. So let's go ahead and enable that. And then we could just drag and drop it to where we want in the page. Very important at the bottom, before we do anything else, we want to go ahead and click on that red save button, because if we do not click on save, none of the changes that we just did will take effect. Really stupid place for that button, if you ask me. All right, and now here on the left-hand side links page, we have Illumira video browser. So let's go ahead and click on that and dive right in. So on this landing page for Illumira, you're seeing that I have no videos found. That's because I have no videos uploaded to this course or currently assigned to this course. Most likely, this is going to be the similar screen that you see as well. You might have a few other content pieces that have been uploaded in the past, perhaps into this course, or maybe something else that's been shared that's there. Something else that we can also do right from this page before we even start uploading our first piece of content is if I was to click on this course settings button, we see I have this little checkbox that appears. And this checkbox says, allow students to upload media to the course. And if we were to check this off, that's going to do exactly what it says. So times that this might be appropriate is, say you have as a group assignments to students for them to collaborate and do their group presentation over Zoom, say, and then be able to upload that and submit the video or maybe attach it to a discussion board. If we did want to have students do that, it's the same deal for students, just like it is for instructors. There is limited capacity within Canvas storage. So by having them upload into Illumira, they won't have any type of storage issues. And again, this was done by clicking on course settings and then checking off the box. Zoom out a little bit so I have a little bit more real estate. So let's go ahead and upload our first video. So to do this, I'll go ahead and click on the upload dropdown, from which I have two options: upload video or audio file and upload image. For our demo purposes today, we're just going to stick with uploading video or audio files. at which point we're going to be redirected to the upload screen. There's two types of sources, or two different types of ways that we can upload content. The most common one is upload from your device. So if this is like you have an MP4 attached in your downloads folder, or maybe on your desktop, if you just recorded a Zoom presentation, say, and then downloaded it from the cloud, 99% of the time it's going to be upload from the device. Illumira also does allow you to pull from an FTP server. Just realize that the server settings have to allow for something like that, as well as have the publicity set to public for any of the video sharing contents. So let's go ahead and click on the upload from device button. And I have something saved on the desktop here, just for our sample purposes today. So I'll go ahead and click on upload. And while this is doing its thing, we can go ahead and fill out some more information that's required below, and that is title, as well as this thing called abstract/summary. So for title, I'm just going to go ahead and use the same title that was the name of the file. So Rider Faculty Recording Studio Sample. Oops. Now what I like to do, since it requires an abstract and summary, it's a little funny this way. The abstract and summary actually won't be accessible to students when they're searching for videos, or the way that we like to embed videos within Canvas. So I just go ahead and copy and paste whatever the title is to make it simple for myself. There is something called collection. Most likely, again, 99% of the time, everybody's just going to have this one Rider University collection. You can go ahead and leave that set to the default. If you wanted to, you could go ahead and allow users to download the media if you wanted to. However, this is not required for students to be able to view. So we'll go ahead and keep that checked off. And if I look up, this is set to 100%, so it's finished uploading. I will go ahead and click on the blue submit button. After we give it a second, this page will refresh and we see we have this video now listed here. However, it's set to no thumbnail. And when I click into it, I can't actually play anything right yet. Or, oh, actually that's a lie. So I can already play the non-HD version of the video. More likely than not, you're actually gonna have to wait a little bit longer just to allow the video to finish rendering for the upload. This can take a whole range of time depending on how long your video is. You can see the 3-minute video did it pretty quickly with that standard definition version. If you are uploading, say, like an hour type of long video, it is going to take a little bit longer to render, so you just have to let it do its thing. Eventually, once the video completely finishes its rendering, it will automatically assign a thumbnail, which is kind of just like a little preview to the video after you've uploaded it here. What we just covered is how you upload your own content into Illumira. Questions so far? Okie doke.
Hey, John, I do have a question.
Sure.
I'm playing along with you, and my collection doesn't give the Rider University collection. It just gives my email address. Is that a problem?
That's fine.
Okay, thanks.
And I'm sorry, Pete, I just saw your private chat to me. Are you guys able to see this a little bit better after I zoomed in, or do you need me to zoom in further? Is that a bit better? Cool. All right, so that was how we upload our own content into Illumira. However, you don't need to only upload your own content. There are times, especially for our WCC or WCA folks, that you'll actually be leveraging some content that the university already has in its collection through one of the university libraries. And there's a couple of different ways. Sometimes your librarian will work with you to have the content available in your course. They might go ahead and just do it for you depending on what the piece of media is and depending on what their role is in that particular course. But we can also go another way about this. If, say, you have an entire collection made available to you as an instructor, and rather than clicking on the upload button, what we can also do is click on this Import Media button. And what happens when I click on the Import Media button, we suddenly have this thing called My Media, which will show other videos that I have uploaded into Illumira at a point in time, but from other courses. So for example, this test upload is from another test course that we had. If I wanted to make this available to my course, I could go ahead and click on that blue Add to Course button. And then if I go back to the Illumira video browser, we now see I have those 2 videos available for this course. But let's go back to our example of that we want to pull a piece of content from one of the library resources. So let's go back into Import Media. And instead of sticking around on My Media, we can also go ahead and click on Select a Source and go into Pick a Collection. At this point, we can see a lot of other collections that are available to me right now. This screen will be different for everybody depending on what you have access to. If I was to go into, I'm trying to remember where there's definitely something I can pull from. I think Westminster Choir College I should be able to pull from. There we go. Say there was a particular asset I knew that was available to me that I wanted to be able to pull in. I would go ahead, I would be given instructions by either media services or the university library in which collection they are a part of. I'll go ahead and drill down and find that piece of media, and once I find it, I can go ahead and click on the blue Add to Course button once again. We now see that that button changed from Add to Course to Remove from Course. So if I want to go back and just make sure that's now available within this current Canvas section, I'll go ahead and click on Go Back to Illumira Video Browser. And now we have that new video available. So I didn't actually upload this video. I didn't have it on my computer to start with. It's sitting within the university library resources, and I'm just pulling it in that way I can use it in my current Canvas course. Questions on being able to utilize other collections in your course?
Don, can you do me a favor? Can you just head to the library site and show them where the streaming media request form is?
Yes, excellent. And let's see if I remember where that is. So I'll go to, is it library.rider.edu or rider.edu/library?
That I don't know. I just go to rider.edu and then click libraries.
Okay, so let's go into the library's website.
Up at the top, requests.
Look at that. So under the request button, if I go into streaming media requests, this is how we would actually initiate that request to be able to have access to a piece of media. And then you would just go through the course, go through the form, and then somebody from the university library staff would be in touch with you. I know a lot of times you're already working with your subject librarian to figure out maybe what pieces of content are already available. But if you do want to go around something that's either already owned or something that you might already have a copy of, for example, say you have a physical DVD you would like to be made available to students for this upcoming fall semester, say, there is a process in which we can go around, the library can go ahead and digitize those pieces of media. And this is the same process you would follow as well. Questions on that? I see there's a few chat messages. Are you good, Crowley? Cool. Great. So we uploaded our media or we imported it from another collection, but how do we actually make it accessible to students now? So the next section that we're going to want to dive into within this demo is enabling, or what we call embedding, the content into a Canvas content page. So you don't need to be within the Illumira button to do this. What we're actually going to do is create a content page. If you have not done this before, have no fear, it's not that hard, and we're going to go over it now. There's two different ways we could go about this. Say we already have modules created in our course. we could just go ahead and click on the plus button, and then instead of adding an assignment, we could add a page and then just create a new page from here. Or maybe for whatever reason we're not using modules right now, or we're just not at that point in our course setup yet. Instead, what we can do is on the left-hand side navigation links pane, let's go ahead and click on pages. If you don't have any pages, this page will obviously be blank. You can see I have a few ones already created. But over here on the right-hand side, I'm going to go ahead and click on this red plus new page button. If you're not seeing that button, it might just be because the Zoom floating heads are currently in the way. And you can move them if you want, but you don't have to. It's just like any other kind of edit button, there's a plus page button, or say like plus discussion or plus announcement. And we'll be brought to this blank content page. So using our example of when we uploaded that Faculty Studio overview video earlier, let's continue with that. So at the top here, I can go ahead and give the page a name. And now what I'm going to do is take the media from Illumira and put it into our Canvas content page. To do this, I'll put my cursor within the middle of this rich content editor. And what I'm going to be looking for is the Illumira button on the toolbar up here. The Illumira button is like a little sun icon, I like to say, but we don't see anything that's here that's yellow. But instead, what I want to do is click on this little down caret that says More External Tools, at which point you see I have a lot more available. And this little yellow circle, Illumira, is what we're going to be looking for. So again, the way that I got to that, if I already have that yellow circle, I would click on that. If that's not accessible because maybe my screen is a little bit narrower like it is today, I'll click on that down caret and click on Illumira. At which point we'll get this pop-up where we'll see all of our media sources as well as be able to pull right from another collection as well. Let's continue with our Faculty Recording Studio sample video. To embed this in the page, I will go ahead and click on the select button. And then I can choose either small or medium widescreen. Normally, I'll always go ahead and click on this medium widescreen option. It truly does not actually end up mattering because no matter what, Illumira is not going to scale up or scale down your video. It's just going to kind of put those black bars at the top if it's not in the correct aspect ratio. If what I just said makes absolutely no sense to you, don't worry. Just go ahead and click on medium widescreen. You might get just a blank white box, or eventually you might get either the thumbnail of the video or just a black screen. It does not matter. If I wanted to, I could attempt to play the video, at which I can see it is working right now. Even if it was not playing for me, that does not mean it did not work. What I wanted to go ahead and do is either click on the Save button or the Save and Publish button. So let's go ahead and click on Save and Publish.
Well, it's just on Canvas.
At which point I can now go ahead and check and see if our video is playing correctly. And this one is. So what we just did as a summary is we created that new page. We went into the Illumira integration within that rich content editor, and then we embedded the video right into this page and clicked on Save. Questions on what we just did? Awesome. We're on a roll today. We'll definitely be finishing up quickly. So I just utilized this content page. Now, for those who aren't familiar with it, like I said, the most efficient way to go about this is having this page now live within a module. So let's go ahead and go back into my modules. And let's pretend I already have some modules built out, and this is going to be a part of my week 1 module. What I'm going to go ahead and do is click on the plus button. That way we can add that page back in. Instead of adding an assignment, I'm going to go ahead and click on that drop down and find page. at which point I'll be able to see all of my content pages within the course. For you, it will probably be a lot easier because you're only going to be looking for that one page that we just created. And I'm going to try and attempt to remember what I just did 3 minutes ago because my memory is like a goldfish today, and I don't actually remember what we named that. Was it Faculty Studio? There it is, Faculty Studio Overview Video. Oh Lord, it's going to be a long day. Sorry, guys. All right, so I'll single click on that Faculty Studio Overview Video page. That's the name of the page that I gave it. You might just give it another name like Module 1 Video 1. Welcome to this week video, whatever it might be that you name the content page. And I'll go ahead and click on that red Add Item button. At which point we'll see it got put to the bottom of the module. And just like any other content within a module, I can go ahead and by clicking on those 6 dots or those 8 dots, 2, 4, 6, 8 dots, I can click and drag it to where I would like it to be within the module. I can indent it if I wanted to, just like any other pieces of content within the module, and so on and so forth. Publish and unpublish the video by clicking on that checkbox. And I could also do other items as well, like make it a requirement for a student to have at least clicked onto the video until they can get into other modules, so on and so forth. Questions on embedding the content. Excuse me, questions on adding a page to a module.
Do we have to create a page in order for a student to access the video? Will they be accessed the video if it was just in the Illumira?
They would be able to access it if it was just within the Illumira. The only reason we like to maybe talk about creating those pages is because depending on if you don't have a very clear naming convention for students, a lot of times what we end up finding is students can't find the video that you're telling them to go watch, even though you think you were clear about it. And so by doing those pages and adding it to a module, if you're already using modules especially, it tends to be easier. But no, you do not need to do this as a requirement. Students can also access the Illumira video browser link, and anything that's going to be within this course page will be accessible to students here. Good question, though.
Thank you.
Any other questions on that before we dive into the last part, which is kind of the back end of Illumira? All right. So like I mentioned before, almost everything that you'll ever want to do within Illumira, you can actually do right within Canvas. There are a couple exceptions to that rule, though, where we actually have to kind of go under the hood of Illumira, if you will, and access the video repository directly. One of those items is you can see this thumbnail that's here right now. Never really actually pulled a thumbnail from the video. Instead, it's just kind of a black screen. Or maybe it pulled another thumbnail, it pulled another piece of time, another point in time of the video, but you don't like what that's currently showing. We could go ahead and change that if we like. So let's use that as our example. What I'm going to do is I'm not going to close out of Canvas. I'm just going to click on the plus new tab button within my browser. And I'm going to navigate to rider.njvid.net. That is going to be the URL that we need to use to access Illumira. That was rider.njvid.net. At which point we'll get to the landing page. At the top right-hand corner of this page, we can go ahead and click on the login button. If you are already logged into other Rider systems, it might just pass you through automatically. Instead, you can see I was brought to the splash page for the Rider key login. So I'll go ahead and using my Rider key credentials, log into this page. And just as a refresher to everybody, your Rider key is the same username and password you use to access Canvas. And then I can see I'm now logged in. When I look at the top right-hand corner, I see my email address. Now to actually start manipulating any of the pieces of content that I've updated in the past, let's go ahead and hover over your email address. And we're going to go ahead and enter the admin dashboard. I will warn you, depending on the time of day, Illumira can take a little while to click around, so have patience when you're going through and just don't start clicking 100 times because it'll take even longer. On this page, what I can now do is go ahead and on the left-hand side, let me zoom in for you guys. Click on the media button. And I can now see at the top, I'm gonna have my most recent video that I've uploaded, and that's gonna be the Faculty Studio sample. So I'll go ahead and click on that video again. At which point I'm brought to a new screen where I can do things like edit the title of the video, preview the video, delete the video entirely. And then if I look underneath the thumbnail, I have this edit thumbnail button. If I was to click on that edit thumbnail, I can then go ahead and upload a new thumbnail. I have to pause my share really quick because I don't think I actually generated one yet. So give me 2 seconds. Okay, so I'll go ahead and click on the upload button. And then I just quickly took a screenshot of what I was gonna use as my picture. So I would navigate to wherever on my computer I wanna pull that new thumbnail image from. And of course, it's not gonna cooperate with me. All right, I'm not sure why it's giving me an issue right now, but my computer is also overheating, so I'm gonna go on a limb and say that those two issues are related. But normally what would happen, I would go ahead and just click on whatever image it was that I wanted to set as my new thumbnail. And then after that uploaded, I would click on a blue save button and I would see this thumbnail update. This is by no means a requirement, guys, by the way. This is kind of just more of a frequent requests that we tend to see from faculty where they don't like the computer generated image that appeared for some students. Without fail, it's pretty amazing at being able to just pull somebody's facial expression at probably the most inopportune time. And then everybody doesn't want to be able to have that. Questions on that? Perfect. One other piece I'd like to dive into that I'd like to show you guys on this kind of back end of Illumira is a very basic analytics we can view for your videos as well. So let's go ahead and go back into my NJVid dashboard. And what I'm going to go to now, instead of clicking on the media button, I'll go ahead and click on the reports button. And this is a particular section of Illumira that can take a few seconds or even maybe up to a minute to generate the new screen. A lot of times we'll hear requests from instructors of, hey, how do I uploaded, I took all the time to create these videos and uploaded. How do I know if a student's actually looking at it or not? And so while we can't see this information within Canvas, we can get very basic data from the Illumira website. For example, and by one of those pieces of information is who has actually clicked on the video and started viewing that video. And this is true for all of the videos within your course. So after about another minute, 30 seconds or a minute or so, I'll give it and actually show you before I explain it further, depending on if it wants to cooperate today. There we go. So if I scroll down a bit, I can see other videos that I have uploaded, including the Rider Faculty Studio that I just uploaded. I can see at which point in time it was viewed recently, as well as the user who viewed it. And so I can see another example. You see most of these are mine right now since I'm doing the demo with you. This maximizing part-time coursework, I can see another user had reviewed it previously. If I scroll down there there's another good example. But I could also search just on a particular video. And by using either the views report or be able to see the duration of, maybe I just want to look at who's been viewing videos this week, I can see this information right within this report dashboard. I will tell you the data that we get from this is nowhere near where we would like it to be. That said, we are actively investigating maybe a complement or a substitute to the system that would give you a lot more granular information. But this at least gives you kind of that most important question of, say a student's emailing you saying, I'm just not understanding the lecture material for this week. Well, if you go in and realize that they didn't actually click on any one of the videos for the week, maybe there's a correlation there. Questions on being able to view the reports on the back end? All right, you guys are making it super easy for us today because this session usually takes a lot longer to go through with Q&As, but that's perfectly fine. At this point, we've covered all of the topics that we normally cover within this session. So at this point, we will basically turn it over to any kind of more granular questions that you guys would like us to cover, answer, or maybe demonstrate for you. And I think at this point, you can take yourselves on mute too. I don't think we blocked that today. Posting link in Canvas versus uploading to Illumira. Good question, Pete. So it depends on what the piece of media is. If it's available on another website, say, and that you want students to go to, no, there's no advantage of trying to download it and re-upload it. As long as you're confident that that video is going to be available and live on whatever hosting platform is using it, that's perfectly fine. This is really for if you have your own piece of media or if it's a piece of media that the library owns or somewhere else that Rider exists. A lot of folks were trying to create their own lectures this spring and then realized that, well, I can't keep uploading these huge video files into the Canvas files because you do have that 500 megabyte storage limit.
I have a quick question. So John, the intention behind this is for when we want to record our own lectures and to have a space where we can put this that doesn't eat up all of our Canvas space. Because that is exactly what happened to me last semester.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the primary use case for this.
Okay.
Or
and
for our purpose today.
Perfect. No, that's exactly what I need it for. So that's great. Another question that I'm sure is very simple, but I just didn't figure it out last semester either. So I was always putting Zoom recordings on my computer rather than the cloud, which I'm not going to do anymore this semester.
That had to chew up a lot of space quickly.
It did, both on my computer and on my Canvas pages. Yeah. Little did I know that. Yeah. So I'm not going to do that again in the fall. But if I record to the cloud, I guess I'm not sure. Would I still be doing the same thing that you just walked us through here to actually put the video on Canvas? Okay.
Up to you-ish, I'll say. So if you record to the cloud with any of your Zoom recordings, and I will tell you, I never record to my desktop for so many reasons. One of them is storage. The other one is because my laptop already overheats as it is, and that I tend to find that that really pushes its limits. So after you record to the cloud, for those who have not done this in the past, when you're doing a Zoom meeting as the host, after a certain amount of time, you'll actually get an email sent from Zoom to your email address at Rider saying, hey, your video is now accessible on the cloud. Here's the link you can share with students to be able to go and watch that video. So you could either just send them that link right then and there. And if this is kind of just a one-off for the semester, that's more than fine. If it's a video that you know you're going to want to use kind of term after term or other purposes as well, we do recommend downloading that video and then re-uploading it into Illumira. You can then delete the video file from, say, your downloads folder, because then it is stored up in Illumira, kind of for eternity type of deal.
Gotcha.
We don't set expiration dates on the Zoom recordings right now. I will tell you by this time next year, we probably will, just because that is not unlimited storage. You don't have to worry about it today, but at some point in time, we're going to want you to have everything up in the video repository.
Okay, that's all really good to know. Thank you. That was helpful.
No problem.
Joy has a question, John.
I just saw.
Yeah, if you can head over to modules and just show how to do that.
Sure. So this is nothing to do with Illumira, believe it or not. This is just a feature within Canvas if you are using modules. Say I want students to have they're participated in the discussion board or at least viewed another page before they move on to another module. By using the prerequisites and restrictions feature within Canvas modules, I can go ahead and set that. So let's pretend I want them to have at least clicked on this page before they go ahead and move on to module 2. And let's say I also wanted them to have completed this check-in quiz before students can start participating in module 2. Under module 2, I'll go ahead and click on the 3 dots here. Again, the floating heads might be in the way, but I promise you it's to the right of the publish button. And then I'm gonna go ahead and click on the edit button. At which point I see prerequisites and requirements. Let's go ahead and click on add a prerequisite. And the prerequisite I'm gonna set is from module 1. I want students to have completed everything that is required for module 1. What I have to do next is actually set what am I going to require for module 1 to be completed though. So let's go ahead and click on update module. And now let's head back up to module 1. Same deal, we'll click on the 3 dots and click on edit. And this time, instead of setting prerequisites, we're going to go ahead and set requirements for the module. I can choose that students must complete all of the requirements or certain requirements. I want students to complete all of my 2 requirements that I'm going to go ahead and set. The first one is going to be they click on that video page, and the second one is they do the quiz. So I can add a requirement. So the first requirement is going to be from module 1. I want them to have viewed the Faculty Studio overview page. And I can see that the default is fine for view the item. And the second one is the module 1 check-in quiz. I want students to have submitted the assignment. I'll go ahead and click on update module. At which point I see module 1 is updated to complete all items. And then the prerequisite for module 2 is they have to have completed the requirements for week 1. And so Joy, that's how we would go about doing any of those module requirements.
Thanks. Very straightforward. I knew it was somewhere. I just didn't know where. Thanks.
Yeah, it's one of those things. If you're not using it, you forget where it's hidden. Other questions?
I know you mentioned putting the page with the videos in the module. If I'm using an overview page, do you suggest putting it in both places or just link it in the overview page?
As long as you have it linked in a page, Quinn, that's I should say embedded within a page, that's perfectly fine. You don't need to have it standing alone on a page. Most folks aren't using overview pages, so I don't go into that.
Okay.
Ja, good question. So you've using Jing for creating your shorter videos. So I like Jing personally. There's also Screencast-O-Matic, which is free, that I know some folks have used for creating short videos, but you can definitely use Zoom to do your video lectures. It's totally up to you. We don't really like to pigeonhole anybody to say, hey, only use this. Whatever you feel most comfortable with, you're more than welcome to go ahead and utilize.
Loom is another one that we're starting to see people use. So that's Loom.
Other questions? Awesome. Well, this was a great session then. If I either did a really good job or completely bored you guys to death and you got nothing out of this. So I'm going to go with the latter, or at least tell my boss that it's the latter for today. So I'm going to go ahead and, did you kill the recording yet? No. All right.